What's up guys, Justin from Riot Night here, and I'm breaking down my favorite records of 2019. Just as a disclaimer, this is not me ranking what I think is the top records or the best records, like in any type of technical way. This is just my favorite albums. At number 10, He Is Legend, White Bat. This is He Is Legend's 6th record. They've done no wrong as far as I'm concerned in their past. Some albums are weaker than others, but this is kinda in the middle to the top of their discography in my opinion. I think they have some great riffs, some great hooks. They're essentially southern metalcore, but it's kind of just rock and roll at this point. It definitely gets heavy and you have those blast beats and those chugs and those down-tuned brutal parts, but you've got so much groove and funk and these choruses. They really play by their own rules and they kind of just do their thing, and it works. And it works on this one too. He Is Legend, White Bat. It's great. At number 9, Mannequin Pussy, Patience. Now this is a band that is essentially a punk rock band. There's a lot of really fast songs on the record, very short song lengths, punk drums, punk guitar, but when it comes to the vocals and the lyrics, there's something so honest and raw and vulnerable, but also really strong about it. It's a female fronted band and she sings songs about kind of the abuse she's dealt with in a relationship and kind of the fallout of that, and how it's affected her as a person and looking back at herself in these situations. So you get this great vocal performance that has so much vulnerability and strength to it over like a fucking punk rock record. The vocals can be clean and beautiful, or they can be kind of shouted out like in a 90s, I don't know, kind of bringing back AFI almost, like some old school like AFI type shit. It's super dope though, worth checking out.
I've been drinking everything I can get. Hold my hands on.
At number 8, Copeland Blushing. I know this made Katya's top 10 list as well. This is a band that we both have in common. We both really enjoy Aaron Marsh and what he does with his Copeland project. And this is yet another super solid effort from him. It kind of lyrically talks about kind of the difference between daydreams and actual dreaming. And this record plays like a dream. It is soft and beautiful, but kind of weighty and catchy at the same time. It is a very unique listening experience. It does not get heavy at any point. It's a very chill, moody record, but again, so beautifully executed. And the songs, it's one of those things you just listen to in a bath. I don't take a lot of baths, but if I did, I'd probably put on this record. It's very mature, it's emotional, it's interesting, worth listening to. Definitely check it out.
When the wolves are circling, 'cause I need to better than them.
At number 7, Knocked Loose, A Different Shade of Blue. Now, Knocked Loose are a hardcore band from Kentucky, and they're not exactly reinventing the wheel as far as hardcore music goes here. They're just executing it at an insanely proficient level. Produced by Will Putney, who is fucking on fire as a metal and hardcore producer. These guys, on their second record, incorporate straight up deathcore into the hardcore, and it is fucking glorious. The frontman has a more higher register hardcore yell, but the guitar players do these fucking insane death growls and screams and play these really sour harmonies throughout. You basically get deathcore spliced into your hardcore with some of the best vocal refrains and just delivery of some really intense, well-written, angry lyrics. This record fucking slaps. That's why it's on this list, and you should check it out. All right, at number 6, Tradewind, Certain Freedoms. I gotta give a shout out to my friend Lorena for showing me these guys. But this is a band that features members of Stick to Your Guns and Straight from the Path, while sounding nothing like either one of those bands. If anything, I would compare them to Thrice, maybe Vehisu or Alchemy Index era Thrice. If you like the Alchemy Index or Vehisu, you'd probably really like this record. It is pretty much an indie rock record. It has its moments where it gets heavy, but it's mostly very restrained. It takes its time. It builds. I think my favorite thing about this album might be the lyrics, because they're very emotional, but they're very restrained and well written and well thought out. And it reminds me of basically adults, dudes who've been doing this and writing for years and years and years. And they've already kind of done the emo thing. They've already kind of, wore their heart on their sleeve, and they have just as much to say, but they're just taking more care in how they're phrasing it and how they're saying it. The stories and the lyrics are fantastic. And overall, this record really wowed me this year. And I think this band is one to look out for. Tradewind.
Look back, there's no reason, but every time I open my eyes, I can't believe you're.
At number 5, Baroness, Gold and Grey. Now this is the 5th album by Baroness. I think they've kind of progressed on each album. The main difference on this one is the inclusion of a new guitar player, Gina Gleason, who brings her vocals to the mix and really harmonizes so well with John Baisley, who's a genius. But Baroness, you know, they've got their metal records, they've got their prog records, and with this one, they just really made a rock record. I mean, it's got elements of prog rock, of space rock, of stoner rock, of metal, of thrash. It's got elements of everything, but overall, what they really made is a beautiful rock record. It's like 17 tracks long, so it kind of flirts with being a double album, and that length doesn't always work in its favor, but the quality of tracks here is fucking great. Tourniquet is one of my favorite songs of the year. I'm not the biggest fan of the production, but if you're a fan of like Queens of the Stone Age or Mastodon or even just good classic rock, you know, you will probably find a lot to like here. It's worth checking out. At number 4, Future Teens Breakup Season. Yes, I have an indie emo rock record in my top 5 this year. That's just how good this thing is. Future Teens have a female vocalist and a male vocalist that will either switch off song to song or just kind of alternate within a song or harmonize with each other. All of the above works really, really well. And as the name implies, Breakup Season, this is a record about breakups. But it's done really, really well. The lyrics are probably my favorite thing about this. And they're just written, they're so clever and kind of tongue-in-cheek. This album's almost like a rom-com, but like one that ends really sad, not funny or happy. I love the honesty and the moments of a breakup cycle that they touch on that can be so fucking relatable if you've ever been through a breakup. They might be referencing their friends or the things that happened to them, but the intention is there and it's so relatable if you've been through something like this. And the execution of the whole record, it's endearing, it's charming, it's catchy, it's sad, it's funny, it's kind of everything. It's really just likable. And I really, really liked this record this year. It's short, it's breezy. Future Teens, give it a listen.
Have no time to let in someone new. That's not true, not true.
All right, at number 3, Norma Jeane, All Hail. I'm a huge Norma Jeane fan, always have been. I think they can kind of do no wrong, although some albums are stronger than others. Their strongest in their catalog up until now, I would say would be their previous record, Polar Similar, which came out in 2017, I think. What's so great about All Hail is they took what they did on Polar Similar and they kind of doubled down on it. There's almost a theme throughout the record, but it's musical, not lyrical. And it's these insane rhythmic chugging patterns that just open the songs up so well. This is the second record on this top 10 list, produced by Will Putney this year, the first being Knocked Loose. But Will Putney just gets how to tailor the production to the band. And these riffs and these vocal patterns and these choruses are just Norma Jeane at their best. They're fucking killing it. The only reason this album's not higher on my list is because there's a lot of filler. There's a couple interlude tracks, which in my opinion don't really need to be there. There's a couple songs that kind of linger getting into them or getting out of them. And in my mind, you know, a band like Norma Jeane, of course, they can do a lot, but when they're just kind of, you know, firing on all cylinders and coming at me full force, that's really when I think they're at their best. As far as a record goes, All Hail was fucking great, and you should listen to it. That's what I'm saying. Number 2, The Damned Things, High Crimes. Now, this is a band that features members of Every Time I Die, Anthrax, Fall Out Boy, and Alkaline Trio. So what we have here is a supergroup, and these don't always work out. In fact, their first record, which came out like 9 years ago, was pretty darn good. It was a pretty rock and roll record. They really played it safe, but you could tell, you know, you could hear Anthrax in there. You could hear Every Time I Died. You could hear Fall Out Boy. You could hear, like, you know, what they were all bringing to the table. And I thought it was good, but it wasn't anything really worth writing home about. But on the second record, High Crimes, they really learned how to write great songs together. The riffs here are very classic rock. The guitar tones and the production, it's all very rock and roll. It's not really metal, although they do get a little bit heavy here and there. Everything from the lyrics to the choruses to the riffs to the production, it's very mature, and it does not sound like a supergroup. It sounds like a band that wholly realizes what they're trying to do, and it sounds like they did it, and they did it really well. And I love Every Time I Die so much that it's almost impossible for Keith Buckley to do anything that's not going to make a top 10 list for me, but I'm a little bit biased. But this record is really, really great, and it's worth checking out. So I hope you do.
We are stars colliding. We are selves divided. We have all the time in the world, but never the time.
At number 1, The Devil Wears Prada, The Act. I've always liked this band. I've never really had anything against them, but I never really thought they were anything super special until their previous record, Transit Blues, which blew me the fuck away. And this record is continuing down that path of kind of mature songwriting and them taking themselves very seriously and their music very seriously. This record, The Act, is very dark. It has a total vibe to the whole thing, and this ambient, kind of eerie, industrial type vibe to the whole thing. The heavy parts are so heavy, but it's not even from just guitars and drums. It's from just the weight of the atmosphere that they've built for these parts. And the vocal performance from Mike Ranica is probably my favorite vocals of the year. This dude sounds like a vicious, wild animal, but in complete control of what he's doing. And it gives me goosebumps when I hear him scream. It is so brutal and so great. And this record's very well realized. It's, again, not really breaking any new ground as far as hardcore music goes, but as far as The Devil Wears Prada, they created a sound very unique to themselves. And it's dark, it's heavy, it's catchy, it's beautiful.
Don't be